Hey, shalom, shalom. All right. Before I get started with this lesson today, I just want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rechakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations unto the elect. All right. And this is Brother Cobb, you out of the Great Millstone Houston Church, coming back at you another day through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Yahushai, to bring forth edification and exhortation to the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, but before I get into this lesson, I just want to name out my title. All right, Lord willing, the title of this lesson will be "This Current World We Live In Is Not Our Rest." All right, this current world we live in is not our rest. Okay, and when I'm speaking about the word world, all right, I'm speaking in the sense of the Greek word aeon, which is speaking about an age or the period of time on earth. All right. And if you've been following along, you believers out there, you know that we are in the current rulership, all right, of the current age of rulership of Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white men on this earth, man. All right, starting with the elites. All right. And with Esau, Edom, all right, being given, power over the earth, rulership over the earth. All right, he's ruled the earth in complete wickedness. All right, where the people are mourning. All right, as the scripture says in Proverbs 29:2. All right, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. All right, and as we see, the whole world is in a state of mourning. Rebellions, uprisings, people out there protesting against data centers, protesting about the chemicals in their food. All right, the leadership. The people are complaining about everything. The people are mourning about everything. They can't afford, grocery. They can't afford groceries. They have to choose between either filling the car up with gas or groceries or paying their bills. You see, the people are mourning, man. Why? Because the wicked is in rulership. Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white man, starting with the elites, they're in rulership, man. Okay. Now, going back into the title of my lesson, this current world, and we went into that word world. What I mean by that word world, all right, it says the current world we live in is not our rest. All right, when I'm speaking about our, I'm talking to you Israelites out there, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, starting with the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, we're the ones that are in captivity under this devil. Okay, and our people have suffered nothing but all right, suffering, affliction, all right, oppression from this devil. All right, throughout the years we've been over here in America. You see, and you see our people, they try so hard to try and make this place, all right, their rest, when it's not. All right, this is the rest of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. This is their rest. All right, because this is their kingdom. This is their rulership. It's been given unto them, but this is not you Israelites' rest out there. All right, it's not for us to try and make it in this society. Be that big celebrity. All right, and if you do be that big celebrity, what do you have to do? You have to sell out to Esau. You have to do all types of demonic worship. You have to do sacrifices. You got to turn yourself. You got to compromise on your morals. You see, if you Israelites want to make it there, you got to do all that. You see, which shows that you truly don't own anything. All right, your own. You get in that position. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he owns you. You see, but I just wanted to make this video because this is not our rest. It's not for us, all right, to rule in this current age, in this current world. Jake tries so hard to try and make it in this society, all right, but this is not our rest. This is not the place where we're going to receive glory, all right, honor, praises, power, all right, authority. This is not the place. All right, let's get Micah 2:10. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction." Right. And when it speaks about arise and depart, it's not talking about a physical departure, from America. Pack your bags and get on a flight, get a passport, and fly somewhere else. No, it doesn't matter where you are on the earth. You're gonna stay under the oppression of Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white man. You see, because again, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." Right? This is not a place where we can, call home, and receive, praises, honor, glory, riches. Really, really, truly be at rest. We got to get up and go to work every day and slave under this Esau, Edom. while we, just raking in, peanuts and pennies, man. Meanwhile, we making these elites, these big corporations and companies, we're making them millions. All right, they're making millions off of our backs, and they're paying us pennies and peanuts, man. This is not our rest, man. All right, it's slavery. All right, you have to go to work. If you don't go to work, then you're not gonna be able to pay your bills, and you're gonna be on the streets. You're not gonna be able to pay for your food. We're economic slaves, man. Okay, it says, "For this is not your rest, because it is polluted." You best believe in the kingdom. That's where we're gonna receive our rest. All right, we don't have to, work every day of our lives just to make ends meet. All right, you Israelites out there. All right, in the kingdom, we gonna be at our rest. That's our true rest. But here is not our rest, man. All right, we just have to accept that for what it is. All right, but we have a kingdom coming soon. It says, because it is polluted, right? Everything around us is polluted. All right, the food, the water, all right, the air, it's polluted. You eat the food, it gets you, sick, lethargic, full of diseases, and then you're forced, to try and get some relief. You're forced to go to Esau Edom's medical institutions, and then he feeds you and dopes you up on his medicine that don't even heal you. All right, just get rid of the symptoms and keep you coming back for that medicine, man, to make money off of you, man. Again, we are oppressed. You Israelites out there, we are oppressed. This is not our rest. All right, Esau Edom has completely polluted this earth. You see, it says, and it shall destroy you even with the sword of destruction. Right, this place is going to be the death of us, man. It's going to destroy us if we're here long enough, man. You see, so let's get Baruch, all right, 3 and 8. So like you bear with me. Baruch 3 and 8. It reads, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us." Right, and just to qualify this, speaking about when they're in the Babylonian Empire, or in captivity in the Babylonian Empire, but this applies to us today. All right, throughout the years, centuries, us Israelites have been from captivity to captivity, man. All right, to this current captivity today, all right, in America, and not just America, but to the four corners of the earth. But the main captivity takes place here in America of you Israelites, man, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But it says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us." Right. So if this is our captivity, how can we get rest? We're constantly slaving every day. We're constantly oppressed every day. How can this be our rest? You see, it says, "Where thou hast scattered us." Right. The Lord scattered us, right, as a punishment for our disobedience. It says, "For a reproach and a curse to be subject to payments." Right. Everything in this place you got to pay for. Food, water, bills, car note, everything you got to pay for, man. It's like you get paid, all right, and then that money just goes away. You get paid, Esau taxing you. The Esau tax your money before you even get your paycheck. Now, how is that righteous, man? How is that our rest? You see, but in this captivity, we're subject to payments under this damn devil, man. It says, "According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord." Right, we're here because basically our ancestors, our forefathers, which we are our forefathers. This is just a curse that has been put upon us for our disobedience. You see, let's get Baruch, or not Baruch, let's get Hebrews. Hebrews 13 and verse 14. All right, Hebrews 13 and 14, it says, "For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come." Right, this current age that we're ruling in, all right, the age of Esau Edom's rulership, we don't have no continuing city here. All right, us Israelites, we don't have sovereignty. We don't have our own land, growing our own food and have our own government going. We don't have that. We have no city here. You see, we're in oppression under this damn devil, Esau Edom. You see, but it says, "But we seek one to come." What is that? The kingdom, man. All right, that's what we're hoping for. That's what we're seeking for. That's when our rest is going to finally begin, when we're in the kingdom, man. And when Yahweh shall come back in the second coming, that's what he's going to bring about. He's going to bring about total destruction to this current age, all right, of Esau Edom's rulership upon the earth, and it's going to become a beginning of a new age of the Israelites ruling upon the earth, and that's going to be our rest. That's going to be our kingdom, as the scripture says in 2 Ezra 6 and 9. All right, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Let's get that in NLT, Hebrews 13 and 14. "For this world is not our permanent home." You see? All right, we're here just as pilgrims. We're here now, and we're going to what? Leave soon. You see? It says, for we're looking forward to a home yet to come. That's the kingdom, man. That's what we're looking for. All right, the earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. Matter of fact, let's get Second Peter off of that 3 and verse 10. It reads, but the day of the Lord yet, all right, Yahweh Shai will come as a thief in the night, right, unexpectedly, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Right. This is the great and dreadful day of the Lord, the day of doom, all right, which is going to come about by way of thermonuclear missiles and the laser beams from the chariots, man, to completely, destroy Esau Edom's empire, his complete rulership, man. You see, this is the day of doom, and we're looking forward to this day of doom. Us Israelites, of the elect, us believers in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, who are looking forward to the kingdom. This is what we look forward to. We look forward to the day of doom because we know that when this day of doom comes, that's when our rest can finally come about. You see, when this man is put down to rest, man. You see. So verse 11, it says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Right. So it's saying, look, seeing that these things are going to be burnt up. All right. What manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation? Which you go into that word conversation in the Greek is anastrophe, which is what? Your manner of life, your conduct, how you conduct yourself on this earth. All right. Should you be, investing in this world, seeing that it's going to be burnt up? No. No, you should be departing from this world, all right, spiritually and clinging unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and his commandments, all right, having faith in him. That's how we should be conducting ourselves, seeing that this place is going to be burnt up. All right, verse 12, it says, looking for and hastening into the coming of the day of the Most High. That's what we should be doing. All right, not, all right, hoping that this place stay here another, 10 to 15 years or 1,000 years. No, we're looking forward and hastening, all right, for our Lord to come back and destroy this place so that we can, finally enter into our rest. All right, Sarah, it says, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Again, that day of the day of doom. That's the day that we're looking forward to, man. All right? Not the people of the world. They're not looking for this day because what? All right, they haven't arisen and departed from this world. You see? They think that this world is their rest. They think this is the end-all, be-all, 2/3 of our people. But this is not the end-all, be-all, man. All right, we have hope of a better kingdom coming. Okay, that's where we can easily depart from this place and look forward to the kingdom that's to come. Okay, verse 13. Nevertheless, all right, here's the point. Nevertheless, we according to his promise look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. You see, this is the new world that we're looking forward to, a earth of righteousness where nothing but righteousness is forwarded upon the earth. And as we read in, as I quoted in Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, man. All right, not just the Israelites, but also these heathen nations. The heathen nations are going to benefit from the righteous rulership of the Israelites upon the earth. All right, we're going to be in our rest in that day, man. You see, this is what we're looking forward to. All right, this current world that we're in, it's a world of wickedness, man. All right, it's a rulership of wickedness, man. And we're seeing the result of the wicked rulership of Esau Edom upon the earth. All right, the people are all sick from the food and chemicals that they're eating every day. All right, the people morals are all fucked up. People don't know, all right, the left from right. People think that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy. It's okay for a man to have sex with another man. These people morals are all messed up. Their moral compass is all messed up because they drunk of this Babylon wine. You see, which made them mad. Okay, so that was pretty much the point. That's what we're looking forward to, man. Again, this current world we live in is not our rest. Let's get 2 Ezra 7. All right, 2 Ezra 7 and verse 41. It reads, even so now, seeing corruption is grown up, right? And we're currently living in that corruption. All right, we're neck deep in that corruption in this world, man. All right, we're living amongst, we're not, of course, we're not, taking part in that corruption, but we're around in this world to see the corruption has grown up to such lengths, you see, and wickedness increased, right? All right, this earth is at its peak wickedness, man. It says, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly. Wherefore shall it not be so now also? Verse 42, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Right, this is not our rest. This present life that we're in under the rulership of Esau Edom, this is not where we're going to receive glory or riches and, power and authority. This is not where we're going to receive all that, man. It says, therefore they have prayed for the weak. You see? Verse 43 says, but the day of doom, again, and we read that in 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, all right, wherein the elements shall melt with fervent heat. This current rulership, America's going to be burnt to a crisp, all right? And it's going to, what? It's going to remain destroyed forever. Nobody's going to, stay here and build up shop here again. No. All right, America's going to remain desolate after the nuclear missiles hit, okay? It says, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time. That's it. The day of doom shall be the end of this time that we're in. The rulership of Esau Edom upon this earth is going to be the end. It says in the beginning of the immortality for to come, right? For you Israelites, man, starting with the elect. All right, again, 2 Andrew 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. When Jacob is in rule, that's when immortality is going to come to pass for the Israelites, man. Starting with the elect, wherein corruption is past, right? In the kingdom, there's going to be no need for a corrupt and wicked nation on the earth. There's going to be no need for the wicked, all right, to be on this earth in a righteous kingdom, man. You see? Verse 44, intemperance is at an end. Infidelity is cut off. Righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed. Right? Nobody gonna be able to save Esau Edom once he's destroyed. Okay? Nobody's gonna be able to overturn the judgment that awaits Esau Edom. All right, the so-called white man, starting with the elites. It says, nor to oppress him that have gotten the victory. Right? All right, the Israelites, starting with the elect, we're gonna get the victory in the end, and nobody else is gonna be able to oppress us anymore. That's when we're going to be in our final, in total rest in the kingdom. All right, when we get that victory. But hopefully this lesson was edifying. All right, straight to the point and exhorting to you, believers of the hopeful elect out there. But with that, I just want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakudash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations unto the elect. Shalom.